Today we've got for the review the newest ATV Ergo Avenger STR, the latest version. And now we are going to make severe tests of the vehicle to find out how it goes in deep snow. Stay with us, it's going to be interesting. Let's go! Hi guys, as usually it's me, just a voiceover, and you're watching Review Machines. You know, we're very glad to get this piece of machinery for the review and then reach our ATV video collection with this famous model. Ergo is a famous Canadian brand with a long and interesting history. By the way, the other day the company celebrated 50 years anniversary. It started to produce vehicles in 1967. For half of century, Ergo ATVs managed to get a reputation of heavy, dirty and reliable machines. But we are going to test it ourselves, to make sure they are really great machines. Frankly speaking, we're unlikely to be able to make any conclusions about the reliability of the machine. It may take several seasons to make such conclusions. But we'll do our best to find out its off-roading performance. And thanks to the deep snow, it's going to be interesting. But first of all, let's look at some technical details of the machine. Probably one of the most interesting features of the machine is its body. It's made of very durable material, and the whole body is a solid detail. This material has many advantages: no rust, resistance of blows and vibration. It keeps its characteristics, no matter what the temperature is outside. Then it's like a boat, that is why the machine is able to float. The frame is made of a good steel, so the whole construction is quite durable. Also, there is another curious feature. The ATV can move both on wheels and tracks. The wheels have a very aggressive tires and bed locks, so it can move with the lowest pressure. That's very effective in swamps. In winter, it's better to equip the tracks, that provide the best performance in deep snow. You'll see it later. Tracks are made of a very robust rubber, and there is a special lock to adjust the length of the track. The ATV is equipped with V-type 2-cylinders engine curler, 747cc and 30 HP. It can work in extreme temperatures. Then there is a new transmission called Admiral. It provides smooth maneuvers. That is quite a rare feature for skid steering machines. There is a high, low mode and reverse. The interior is simple but functional. There is a handlebar like on motorcycle. Then we see here a dashboard. At the left there is a reverse and neutral handle. At the right there is a handle to choose a low or high mode. There are some sockets and glass holders. 2 people can sit at the front and 4 people from behind. Well, let's do some practice. And I think we start from the simplest, snowy field. According to our measurements, there is about 40 centimeters of snow. It's loose, without any crust. Okay, it's time to go. As you can see, it goes quite well in these conditions. But it's not very surprisingly taking into account equipped tracks. Tracks are the best way to deal with deep snow, but in swamp it's better to go on low-pressure wheels. By the way, the weight of the machine is 570 kilos, but due to the tracks it pushes lower pressure on ground than a man. That is why our Avenger can easily move there, where it's impossible to walk. Also, due to the tracks, the ground clearance is higher. On wheels it's 240 mm, on tracks 280 mm. By the way, look at the bottom. It's absolutely flat, and it does a lot of good for off-roading performance. And now let's check the maximum speed. The result is 35 km per hour. Not very bad, but frankly speaking, there are some other ATVs that are able to move faster. And now my favorite part, my personal impressions. Firstly, let's get inside. And it's worth saying, it's quite a job to get on board the vehicle. Due to the waterproof body, it doesn't have any doors. To my surprise, it's quite warm and cozy inside, despite the frosty weather. But I should say it's unlikely to help you if you meet a wild bear, for example. The steering is the simplest. Choose a high, low mode and go. But I liked in particular how it makes turns. Usually a skid steering machine makes some jerks when turning, but Avenger turns very smoothly and predictably. As I've said, smooth driving is provided by the new transmission Admiral. So my very first impressions are so nice. I really enjoyed driving this machine. By the way, when we were filming this video, we all together were moving in the ATV. So 4 big men with some cargo, it's an easy task for the Avenger. It went quite rapidly despite a serious load. According to the specs, the carrying capacity is half a ton, so theoretically the machine can carry even 6 people. Then we found a place where there was the deepest snow. As you see, it's much deeper here than on the field. Well, let's try our Avenger here. It seems like no sweat for the machine. It even can turn without serious problems here. 2 big tracks definitely do a lot of good in deep snow. The only hard place for the machine was the ascent, but low range helped to overcome this obstacle. Now let's move to the forest and find some more interesting obstacles. By the way, I don't think Avenger is a suitable name for the ATV. To my mind, the design is absolutely not aggressive and quite peaceful. Guys, can you suggest any suitable name for the machine in the comments? Meantime, we found quite an interesting place with a very rough terrain. But it turned out that it's not a serious task for the machine, it's even managed to turn around the tree. I think forest is the best place where Avenger can show all its advantages. Maximum speed is 35 km per hour. It's not quite impressive for the field, for example, where any sled is much faster. But in forest, such speed is quite sufficient. And as any tracked ATV, our Avenger is very maneuverable. It's able to turn around on the spot. This feature is one of the most important advantages in comparison with any wheeled machine. And I should say, it's very quiet. Engine works so smoothly, you can hardly hear it if you go for 10 meters away from the machine. Then we found a frozen swamp covered with thick bush, and there was the deepest snow on the place. Well, let the Avenger do his job. It seems that the performance of the machine doesn't depend seriously on the depth of the snow. No matter what the depth is, Avenger keeps on going. It's hardly possible to walk here, but ATV is so capable due to the wide tracks. It almost doesn't fall through snow and cuts his way through the bushes and snow piles. Also, we tried to break the ice of the small pond to find out if Avenger is able to get out from an ice hole. But unfortunately, the ice was too thick, and we didn't manage to fall through it. Nevertheless, it's worth mentioning that today we haven't found any places where Avenger could get stuck. So I have every reason to say it. Ergo Avenger is a decent ATV for winter off-roading. And now I think it's high time to speak about the prices. This particular model, Ergo Avenger, will cost you about $40,000. To my mind, the price is rather high. But we should remember that Ergo company promises a high quality and reliability of all its machines. Avenger is heavy-duty ATV, capable to tackle the roughest terrain. It's maneuverable, reliable and quiet. So to my mind there is only one drawback, and it's the price. Guys, it's very interesting what you think about the machine. Maybe some of you have this ATV. Please leave here your feedback. And now let's go today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing the channel. Stay with us. It will be many more interesting materials here. Goodbye.